The shave we'll be doing today will be one with Gillette Silver Blue, Parker 98R Ultra Heavyweight, experimental salsa bowl with grooves made by me, and the soap will be from this tiny little sample of Ghost Town Barber. The brush will be a Whipped Dog Silvertip Badger. The aftershave will be probably witch hazel from Thayer's. I'm going to open up. The 98R is a 3-piece. This Gillette Silver Blue blade is on its 6th shave. This is number 6. I don't know that I've taken one that far. The only thing I've done differently is that I have done one little spritz of 70% alcohol, rubbing alcohol, from this little bottle after each shave. I have no idea if it does any good at all. It may just be that this blade is awesome and holds its edge very well. Even if this blade stops today and I take one shave with it and it pulls nasty, then I'll be super happy with it. 5 good shaves with no pulling or missing or anything like that. All right, so I'm going to make sure this is aligned properly. All right, so that's ready to go. I believe that the alcohol, it dispels the water. If there are little micro droplets of water on the edge of the blade, then over the course of a day, maybe it applies a little bit of rust on the edge of the blade. I don't know. I think that's what I read somewhere. Don't know if it's true, but then maybe the alcohol will keep that from happening. So that's all I'm doing differently with that blade. We'll see. All right. About the intricacies, I've had a little bit of water in there blooming. I took from the Chiseled face, is the maker of the Ghost Town Barber, and I just took about this much out of it, a little bit bigger than an almond, and just kind of pressed it into the bottom of the bowl. Add a little bit of water to start it kind of activating. Right now, it smells a little better than it does in the jar to me. I have, I got 3 Chiseled face samples at the same time. Ghost Town Barber, Trade Winds, and Summer Storm. I got those as tiny samples because I didn't know whether I'd like them or not based on the descriptions. And it was wise because they're borderline for me. Ghost Town Barber's super popular, so I might be in the minority there, and that's okay. The Ghost Town Barber has some floral notes, and that's probably why I don't like a lot of the barbershop fragrances, is the high soapy scent, which is fine, but then when you combine it with kind of feminine florals, then I just don't, that's not me. And they did say, descriptions said that the Ghost Town Barber was a traditional barbershop with a little twist to it, and that's in fact what it is. I think they've maybe added a little bit more musk, maybe a woody kind of smell. I mean, maybe that's a long shot in the dark kind of situation there. I don't know whether I like it or not. Probably so. Don't know whether I'd order it or not. since it's kind of borderline, since I'm not just jumping at it right now. So what I did was I took my finger, got into that sample box, sample tin, sample container, and then I spread that around inside the bowl, inside the grooves, and just to make sure that it's fairly soft. That particular sample was. And so I don't think that it's going to be a problem of being absorbed into the lather. But one time I spread things out in the bowl and a couple of pieces did not get absorbed, and it affected my lather. All right, the razor's ready. The Badger brush has been soaking. I'm going to, since I've got that pre-soak water in there in the bowl, I'm going to go ahead and shake this brush out a good bit. I can always add a little bit more water back in later. You know what? Got a hair out of that brush. That might have been the second one or first one in about 3 weeks of using. I'm very happy with these guys. All right. I did a few runs with this bowl, and my lathers just seem to be a little too airy, not enough, not thick enough, not yogurty enough. So let's just see what happens. You know, I'm trying to put the grooves in it, help with the aeration of the lather, and sure enough, I was often able to get a lather. Yeah, okay, this is super dry. The smell, the exact smell is still there. I'm going to add a little bit of water. Tried out this bowl for 4 shaves maybe, and just I think one of the lathers I was happy with. The other ones were just too thin. Like I said, it almost felt like it aerated them and kept them from getting really thick, so that when I put the layer on my face, it didn't feel like that insulative barrier. Yeah, see, we're already getting some right there. That's good. So after that run initially with this bowl, I was also concerned that I hadn't ground down enough of the burrs on each trough, you know, because I used a Dremel tool to cut the troughs. You probably saw them in the video, but most of them are in a star shape. They start in the middle and then come out. And used a small 1/4 inch sanding Dremel bit. Yeah, this is coming together already. Use that bit to make the grooves, and so just to make and I was afraid that if there was a burr on any of the grooves, then that could potentially bind a hair. Adding a little bit of water. The lather looks good so far. Could potentially bind a hair and yank it off, and you don't want that to happen every time you shave. Oh yeah, there we go. Changed sounds a little bit, less scritchy and more like, hey, I'm full of leather. There we go. And so, took it back to my workshop. I deepened the grooves a little bit, but then I got some sandpaper and really worked on the burrs. I thought I'd pretty much gotten them the first time, but there were some that I wasn't sure about. I thought it was okay, but I just wanted to be sure, because I mean, I'll throw away the $1.50 bowl a lot quicker than I will a nice brush. So I don't like this scent. Okay, I think that the musky, cologne-y type twist that they put on it. I'm happy with that. I like it. It is now firmly in the I like it category. Oh, yeah, see, this is softened up nicely. You don't hear the scritching. When I got those 3 samples, I thought, you know what? The power of suggestion, and I've talked about this before a little bit. The power of suggestion with some of these theme type fragrances like Summer Storm and Trade Winds. You know, you have something in your mind when you read the title. And then when you smell it, you kind of apply what's in your mind to the fragrance, and you kind of read things into it that may or may not be there. I'm not saying the people at Chiseled Face are taking advantage of that. I'm just saying I wonder if I can pick out what's in there, and I wonder then if it will be true to the name. And so I believe that Ghost Town Barber, I was able to, so what I did was, I put Post-it notes over the caps, and I wrote numbers on them without looking at the caps. I'd squint my eyes so I can't read the words, you know, and then I'd put the note on it. Put a number 1, number 2, number 3. And then I would just, and the thing is with smells, with fragrances, this is looking great, by the way. A lot of times your nose will get full. It will get used up in terms of detecting scents. And so what I do is I put them by my desk as I work, maybe once a day. I would just kind of go through. I'd have a notepad file up, and it would have sample 1, sample 2 written on it. And I would just smell, and then I would write down whatever I thought. Sometimes it was just mild, you know. I wouldn't write down something every time, but if I discovered something new, I'd add it to the description that I was accumulating. So with Ghost Town Barber, it wasn't totally blind, because I think I remembered that Ghost Town Barber was in the sample that I had ordered. So, but I did detect florals and soapiness, but then kind of a musky, some kind of manly twist, cologne twist. And that's basically what it is. It's terrific. With the other 2, Trade Winds and Summer Storm, it was interesting because I smelled the Trade Winds, and it was just kind of a light, a florally kind of smell. I did not really pick up any oceany type notes to that scent. It could be my nose. I'm not saying they're not there, okay? But I couldn't pick them up. Now with the other one, not the Trade Winds, but the Summer Storm, that one I actually didn't make a note that I thought I smelled kind of some ocean stuff. Hey, we got a little, I feel like a chemist. And a good lather really is an interesting balance of chemistry. Too much of one thing, and it doesn't work the way you want. Got to get that balance right. But with the Summer Storm, I didn't detect anything like, you know, the descriptions talking about, well, you step out and after a rain, and that's how it smells. And, you know, I didn't pick up any of that. I picked up florals, again, some, a little bit of a note of an oceany kind of thing. And even on Ghost Town Barber, I made a note that there were the florals in there. And sometimes I would smell them more than others. And sometimes I would smell the kind of the musky, manly part of the Ghost Town Barber. We have some nice lather going here. You know, and so I feel like I've evaluated those fragrances pretty objectively because I didn't have any preconceived notion as to as to what it should smell like, and so therefore I won't be ordering either of those other two because they're just not me. I'm just really happy with this Lather. I think it's a nice fragrance. Who knows? Wait. Part of that muskiness. I wonder if there's a little tobacco thrown in. Leather, you know. It'd be very faint if it was. Sometimes those cologne type smells, they're just so sophisticated that nothing is dominant, even if my nose palate was strong enough to detect it. So this thing, I am just chock full of lather here. And that's not even all of it that's in there. So I'm glad I've got a nice thick lather from my bowl. I've got another option I'm trying. I found a deeper stainless steel bowl from the Dollar Tree. The first one I got was too shallow. It wouldn't really, it caused you to have to really work hard to keep the lather from falling out. But this one was deeper, so I think it might be really good. So I'm going to take a hammer or something hard and put a bunch of dings in the bottom of it so that I get lumps when I look at it from using the bowl. And then we'll see if that helps to agitate the lather and whip it up really quickly too. All right, so very happy with this at the moment. I'm using the distilled water. If I forgot to mention that already, I have hard water. I am a cold shaver, so I'll be doing that. And time for a rinse and then begin. I got my first baby butt smooth shave 2 days ago. And it was with a 1948 Super Speed, and from Gillette, of course. And I was elated because the shave was so comfortable, even on the third pass, even on my neck area, that I felt like I could go ahead and go for the, or after the second pass. And so I felt that the third pass could potentially be a against the grain pass, which I never do because my skin's just not liking that. At first it was good, but then the next day, the next evening when it came time to shave, my whole area here was objecting to the whole shaving process. It did not want to get shaven. It was irritated and angry with me. And so then yesterday's shave, see, like right now, the first time I applied the shaving cream last night, one day after my baby butt smooth shave, my skin was barking at me and being irritated. Look at this. This is great. This is great. And so I was curious what it would be like today, because that was the only time I'd ever, not only did I achieve the against the grain pass success, but that was the most I've ever irritated my face, my skin. And I'm glad to report that everything seems fairly fine. It seems like it's about 95% back to good health. Oh, this is thick and feels great. You definitely get the barbershop smell. I love the idea of the old-timey barbershop, but as it turns out, I don't really typically like the smell of the old-timey barbershop. Just too much florals for me. But they balanced out the florals a little bit. They mitigated those with some of the manly stuff they've got going. So I am undecided as to whether I would actually buy some. Maybe if I get a good deal. Okay, yeah. If I got a good deal, found a sale, something like that, I'd probably buy some. There we go. Just taking my time a little bit to let the suds and the lather exist on my face for a little while to work on those hairs. I did not do any kind of pre-shave routine. So, it smells pretty good. All right. I really like this razor, ultra heavyweight. Gillette Silver Blue, 6th use. Pretty good. Usually I do I think it's called buffering, where you do short strokes. Might try longer strokes and less repetition over the skin area. Doing great so far. It is giving me more feedback than I've had in the past, but it may be the razor. For me, this blade did not do well in the Jagger 89. But in my Parker variant and in my Rockwell 6, did great. Also in my Gillette Fat Boy and my Gillette Super Speed, did great. I have used 2 other chiseled face soaps before. Very happy with them. All right, rinse time. I did not do as much buffering as I usually do. Hopefully I'm using the right word. And so I don't have as tight of a shave as I do normally after my first pass. But I'm fine with that because I like lather. I wonder if I did, I don't remember scrubbing too much on the first pass or right before the first pass. I think I mostly painted. That's what you're supposed to do on the second pass and third. Look at that, so much lather. Good stuff. Love it. Okay. Cross grain pass. I habitually buffer. Well, I kind of have to do it around my goatee. It's probably what's throwing me back in the habit. Cross grain pass. Felt a little twinge there. No, it's just a spot. It's not a bleeder. This is cross grain for right here. Rinse. Just did a little check, and still got plenty of hairs left in my trouble area. My cheeks feel great. I could stop. I don't need to do a third pass on them. And so this will be a good test, because in the first, second, and third uses of this blade, Gillette Silver Blue, I didn't even have to do a third pass on my neck. So it's showing its age a little bit, which is fine. They do that. So, strategic cross grain run, other direction. Here I think I kind of have to buffer because the hair just grows in so many weird ways. It's kind of normal over here, but over here there's a lot of twisting and turning going on. That was kind of with the grain a little bit. Okay, this one comes down that way, so let's try this. Little inspection. Time to, yeah, there we go. We got a lot more of those hairs. That is definitely a workable close shave. Oh, pretty good on the Adam's apple too. It's not baby butt, you know. I'd have to go against the grain. I do feel it when I move my hand against the grain in terms of looking at it, and I'm not seeing any. I'm seeing very few little hairs kind of sticking up. Again, that did not get cut. So, 6th showing. Gillette Silver Blue. Come on now. We're going to go for a 7th one. With the feather that I tried recently, it didn't start to tug when it gave up the ghost. It just started kind of missing them and agitating my skin some. Didn't really, some of the other blades will just really tug, and especially in that first pass, and not really, that's how they tell you that they're done. But the feather did not. Maybe the Gillette Silver Blue, since it's, I believe it's on par for my skin type at least, with the feather very much. It's been very sharp. It may not be as sharp, but it's maybe even smoother, and so effectively that might make them very similar. But it's a lot sharper than that whole group of other blades that is in the middle of the bell curve. So I'm very happy. I don't have agitation. I don't have irritation in my skin at all. So it's a great pairing with the GSB and the Parker 98R Ultra Heavyweight. Really like the look and feel and performance of this razor. And, you know, just for grins, I'm going to go ahead and lather up and see, now that most of that's gone, you can see the grooves that I made in the lather bowl with the Dremel. So anyway, I think to continue my story with that, I splash on a little water here. These soaps, so slick. I'd go down to rinse my face, and just so much slickness would be kind of activated. Very happy with the performance of these guys. But I deepened the troughs in my bowl there with the Dremel, and then I took the sandpaper and just kind of worked it over for a few days just to make sure they're, I habitually have soaked up my cheeks. It's fine. I'll do a with the grain kind of shave. Just be gentle on my skin there. Probably be fine. I've heard that some people can't shave every day. I don't know if that is I don't know if that's kind of typical for like people who are trying to get baby butt smooth. But there definitely wasn't as much on my face to shave the day after my baby butt smooth success. I'm hearing the chatter of the blade, so it's cutting something. So maybe I'm just doing some touch-ups here, and it'll look even better. But since it's still pretty much with the grain, it won't give me irritation. Now this is kind of a cross grain if I go this direction. Over these sensitive areas here, definitely keep with the grain, light touch. And there we go. I think that's the DFS. Maybe the CCS, depending on your definition. Just a nice close shave. Very smooth, as long as you, and in some areas you can go against the grain and it will be smooth for you, baby butt style. But in most areas, especially on the neck, if you go against the grain, it will, you'll feel the hairs. So yesterday when my skin was so irritated, not only did I do the witch hazel afterwards, but I also did my Nivea balm too, and that appears to have been successful. No irritation, even on a 4-pass shave, just for grins, because I like lather. And happy with no irritation. So it's a good combo. And I'm happy with my bowl. That did well. Didn't aerate it too much. Very happy with that. $1.50, Walmart. Salsa bowl, guacamole bowl. I might not mind having a little bit bigger one, but I don't need a bigger one. If you have a small sink area where the shoulder, kind of like mine, where the shoulder doesn't give you much room to put things, then this may be a disadvantage since it's got these 4 legs. And if you don't put them exactly right, then it could, you know, tip around. And especially if it's got a brush sitting in it, then that could be a little cumbersome. So for what it's worth, there you go. So I'm going to keep using this, I think. So the fragrance, it did change a little bit. It wasn't quite as tart, wasn't quite as pungent, of course, like most of them are, as it was when smelling it right from the jar. Right now I can definitely still smell it, and it's pleasant, it's nice. Yeah, I like it. I like it. I can see why a lot of people like it. It's good. All right. Well, you don't need to see me do the witch hazel thing or the cleanup. I will go ahead and do the alcohol spray on the blade and see if I can get number 7 out of it. All right. Take care, and I hope this helped somebody out there.